Hi everybody, it's Tait here from Nanjing Marketing Group. Just time to share with you the China marketing news of the week. Today I have here with me Lawrence, who is here with me pretty much every week and is an account manager at Nanjing Marketing Group, and Nara, who is the super extra social marketing expert at Nanjing Marketing Group. That's not her official title, but that works. We're going to talk about a few different things today. So the main thing we're going to talk about is how to write great WeChat articles. But before we dig into that, we're going to cover the news. And that is some data about the OECD projections for the Chinese economy and other economies. We're going to talk about social group buying and some ways that it is unexpected in China. It's behaving in an unexpected way. And we're going to talk about people studying China less than they used to a few years ago and maybe why that is. Okay, so let's get started here. I am going to talk about this one from the OECD first. Now, I'm going to show a chart here on my screen, but basically what it shows is that this year, of all the OECD countries, China is the only one that is growing, and it's not growing by much. It's only growing by 1.8%. The other countries this year are all going to be contracting. I guess that's the economic word for it. Mexico will have a contraction of 9.2%, India 9.9%. I think that the reason for this is that China has recovered better from COVID than other places have. Next year, we'll see some changes. Next year, we expect China to grow by 8% and India to grow by 7.9%. And most of the other economies will start to grow again. Some of them by a bit more than usual, but some of them will just bounce back to their usual levels of 2% or 3%. And this is looking good for anybody that's selling into China, obviously. So it's good news for us as a marketing agency that helps people sell into China.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move right on to the next one. That's just good news, right? That's just good news. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, sure.
So, Lawrence, you have to explain this one to me because I don't know what this is. I haven't read this article yet, and it's something about social group buying in China, right? So what is it?
Yes. So actually, this new kind of a shopping wave is getting very hot from the beginning of the year, particularly in the period of the pandemic. So when people realize they are locked down at their community, we call China community as 小区. So each community has probably thousands, 10,000 people living in there. So they have a huge need of buying daily foods and vegetables every day.
Okay, hold on. So you mean a neighborhood, right? Like an actual physical neighborhood where people are living near each other?
Yes.
Okay.
The building to building, door to door.
Yeah.
So in that community we call neighborhood, people will have to buy daily foods every day. But since they are locked down, they don't have a place to go. They probably can't even go to the supermarket. So what's the best option? The community group on. So actually, the whole community, let's say 10 apartments, well, that's actually 10 families. They all need certain foods and they order together. So with huge amount of quantity, actually, I believe the retailer can bargain with supermarket or their retailer to get a cheaper price. And when it comes to the group buy in a community or a neighborhood, price is always the most important section. So whenever there is a cheaper price product, people will just go there and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So one question here, if in your community or in your neighborhood, there is a shop that provides stable daily foods for your needs, and you don't really have to go to a supermarket anymore. Well, you go to a supermarket for a cheaper price, even cheaper, or you will stay in your neighborhood and buy from the neighborhood shops. Which one would you prefer, Tait, if you have that option?
Lately, I buy a lot of stuff online. And I don't know. I don't do the shopping in grocery stores right now, so I don't know.
Yeah. So I think one advantage of this community Groupon is actually a lot of people can buy stuff online together. It's not online shopping anymore because when it comes to the online shopping, the delivery actually is not really deliver everything to your door right now. So at this moment, it's convenient to shop online, but still you have to wait. You have to go to the nearest station or the security office to pick up your groceries or your delivery product. But
Wait,
now
hold on.
if you...
Hold
Yes.
on. What do you mean? Why do you have to go to a station to pick up your product? Don't they deliver it right to your door or your office?
Actually, in China now, in each community or in a neighborhood, the delivery guys is not gonna deliver every product you shop online to your door. They will
Okay.
drop into a station where you can have all your delivery product just like your neighborhood does.
Okay. And is that the way that it is because of COVID, or that's the way that it always is?
I wouldn't say always it is. It's getting popular, I think, from 2018, 2019. So I
Okay.
think since that time, because everyone is shopping online, so there's too many delivery products, and the delivery people, delivery guys, just stop delivery to your door. They will just drop into a certain location, and you have to pick it
Okay.
up by yourself.
Actually, I want to share my experience about this. Actually, I usually use this kind of model to buy like vegetables and some meat. It's really convenient for our young generation because usually our mothers they will go to the market to buy all the vegetables, so they know the price. But for our young generations, if I go to the market, they will sometimes the shop owners, they will just trade me. They will give me a higher price. So
Okay.
every time I will worried if he will ask for more money. So if we use that kind of model, I can know that everyone is using the same price.
Okay. So you feel, that's interesting. So you feel more secure because you're getting the same price as
Yeah.
everybody that is in the group buying group. You're not losing
Yeah.
out. Yeah. I really felt that way a lot of time in China because I would feel like I'm losing out on the best price because I'm a foreigner. But my trick for talking to people on the streets, or the thing that I learned in Nanjing, was that English doesn't get you gets you the highest price. Mandarin, your price is lower. But if you add in a little Nanjingese, then my price is the lowest, right? So
Yeah,
a little bit of Nanjingese would help me.
Okay. So let's get back to the topic. I think this article is trying to say that the group buying in the community isn't always looking for the cheaper price, but more stable growth, because everyone needs to buy food and vegetable every day. So with that stable buying behavior from community and your neighborhoods, the community shop can and able to provide lower price and a stable product like meat, vegetables, and like people like Nara, she's too afraid that she get tricked by the price, so she would like to go with community Groupon.
Yeah, it feels bad to get the bad price. Even if you can afford it, you don't want that price, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so actually I would say this probably will be a new shopping model in community. You probably have a lot of WeChat group, and people will just shop all together, says, okay, let's shop this product, let's shop meat or whatever.
Okay. But what's the difference here between previous group buying in China?
I think previous group buying is more focused on pricing. So when people are focusing on one particular items. So for example, Nara and I and others are all buying for toilet paper or whatever. So we're aiming for one particular product. But right now, right here, for this model, it is not. So we're actually buying for the daily needs.
Yes.
We don't really have to buy toilet paper every day, like 365 days, but we have to buy foods every day. So that's the difference between the past Groupon. The past Groupon is having many people to buying one particular product you need, but not that frequent. But now we are buying more frequent.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Anything else you want to say about this, or you want to move on?
I think it's time to move on for the next topic.
Okay, cool. But I just wanted to ask one more thing, because this there's this image here in this article, and what's going on here, because this is the
Okay.
older guy, not very fashionable, but it's got the Louis Vuitton bag. What's he doing here? Does he want that?
So this is actually a very famous campaign. I wouldn't use famous, very hot campaign used on Pinduoduo. So it says the Louis Vuitton bag is now selling out. Help us. So look like he's the owner of producing many Louis Vuitton bags, and he's eager to selling them. And just
Okay.
Groupon and get a discount.
Okay. All right.
You'll see a lot of this kind of picture in Pinduoduo. They are selling fruits or vegetables. They're selling,
Yeah.
okay, the apple is not selling very good. Come and help us. We'll give you a lot of discount.
Yeah, right. Well, I think it's really interesting to watch what's going on. The innovations in e-commerce related to groceries and food in China, because China's getting closer to solving that, closer to making that really convenient and useful for people. Whereas I think that in Canada and USA, it's still a long way off before figuring that out. Okay, one more news item, then we'll talk about the how to write great WeChat articles. Okay, so this article here from economist.com is about the number of people studying China. And what they say here is, quote, America's President-elect Joe Biden says China is his country's biggest competitor, yet China's centrality in the calculations of foreign policy experts in Washington and throughout the West is hardly matched by the interest shown in academia. Despite China's efforts to promote interest in the language and a surge of attention to it in Western schools a few years ago, enthusiasm for China studies at university level remains lackluster. Fear of China and restrictions imposed by it are in part to blame. End quote. So the article goes on to explain more details about that, but just in short, the number of people that are studying China in universities has dropped over the recent few years. And this is totally in line with my feelings and from what I've seen in China too. But it's not in line with it from a business perspective. Now, I'll explain both of those, what I mean. For one, the trends in Chinese society and Chinese politics have just become more and more restrictive, and it's not inspiring. You know, if there are a lot of problems going on within China, and if there are tensions between China and other places, that's not inspiring for studying China. You know, I could see how that would put people off about China. And I feel the same way, but also there are problems everywhere, right? There are problems in USA and Canada and everywhere. But in the past, you know, when it was like 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, when I was studying Chinese and learning about China, I was seeing China as being like this developing country that had nothing but potential and could become much better than other places in every way. So it's kind of like an idealistic view of it, right? But now it's hard to have that idealistic view, I think. Now, when it comes to business, though, well, I guess we got rose-colored glasses on, because as a marketing agency helping people sell stuff into China, we talk to new people every week that think positively about the business opportunities in China, and they want to sell their stuff and they want to talk to us, and sometimes they want to come to China, to Nanjing, and have hot pot with us, and it all feels very positive, right? The business scenario is very good. So this article here from The Economist, although it's talking about the academic side of things, I think what it's missing is that still there's a lot of people that want to do business with China, and that is probably going very well. I wonder if you guys have any thoughts about this.
I think the point of academic and business is different. People may find the reason or excuses are not coming to study in China because they probably fall into other circumstances. But I would still consider that China is very good for marketing purpose, You say a lot, particularly this year, I would say, even related to the first news we shared with our audience, China is the only country in the world that has growth. Even it's a very tiny growth, but still is a growth. Probably, I think people are all heading to other countries. Like students are going overseas studying. That's why they're not coming to China. And probably, I think, I know some students come to China because the Chinese government is providing funding for them. So they can even actually pay a very cheap price for the tuition as well as living cost. But now maybe China I saw a news says the Chinese government is cutting cost to support foreign students come to China and study. I think that might be one of the reasons that some students are deciding not to come to China and doing their studying.
Okay. Yeah, well, a lot of students are probably really flexible too about where they go and study to. Because when I was in university, one of the reasons that I wanted to go abroad for part of my studies was not really like a logical thing. And I had no idea about politics or anything. It was just like a young person's urge to like get out and go somewhere. And my second choice besides China was not related to China at all, not even Asia. My second choice was Sweden. That was the place that I was interested in going to if it wasn't China. You know, totally different, nothing to do with any of these factors. I just wanted to get out. So I predict that a lot of students that are studying different places in the world, or they want to travel to different places in the world, are actually kind of flexible about where they go to.
I think in terms of that, probably in the next few years, we will see a trend where people who are actually coming to do business, they're probably heading to China right away. But maybe if they are only for studying, they will just go to probably European or other Asian countries.
Yeah, could be. Okay. But you know, our one team member, Vicky, who does a lot of our marketing with us too, in some of the videos, she was actually a sinology major, like that was in her bachelor's degree. So she has even more studies related to China than me. Whereas I did a business degree that had China in it. But I find that interesting that people would study China as a main thing. Okay, let's move on here. Let's talk about these WeChat articles. Now this is going to be we finished the news. We've talked about the news for this week, and we can talk about this one for as long as we want to. I've already written this article on how to write great WeChat articles, and I'm going to go through this article that I've written and share it with you guys, share some of the points. And, you know, based on feedback I get from Nara, I might actually go and update this article a little bit, but people can still find the link in the YouTube or in the podcast descriptions there. So WeChat articles. When it comes to writing a great WeChat article, the way that I saw it was that you want to optimize the different parts of the user experience. So you want to get users to open your article, you want to get them to read through it, and you want to get them to share it. Finally, you might want them to convert as well, because there may be a contact us or a purchase or some other conversion that you want them to do. So this is the way that I went through it. Now, first, about getting users to open WeChat articles. One of the problems is that everybody's on WeChat. All the brands are on WeChat. All the companies are on WeChat. Anybody that's listening should probably be on WeChat too. But as those brands and those accounts have created more and more and more content, the open rates have gone down. Now, I saw this report from Kawo, Kawo, that said that the open rates had dropped to 6%. This report came out already about 2 years ago, so maybe they've even dropped below that by now. I'm not quite sure. And then from the metrics that I can find out from other people in Nanjing Marketing Group, we're seeing higher open rates, but it depends on the niche. So in B2B niches, we're seeing open rates of about 7%. And then for education projects, we're seeing open rates of about 14%. Anyways, any regular user that's using WeChat, they have to decide which article they're going to click on. And, there's a lot of competition out there. They could click on it or they could not. Or they could click on something else. Now, the main factors to get people to open the article are going to be the title of the article and the image and the description, which in Chinese is 概要, right? Some people might call it a summary, but description is a good word for it. And you want to make those attractive to people, right?
I think it's sometimes called 简书.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so most of the people that listen to us or pay attention to us are professional marketers too. So they have experience making titles right or choosing the right images for things. But I tried to think of a couple different things that they should pay attention to on WeChat in particular. And one of those is that the title should be short, because WeChat could fit about, I figure, 15 Chinese words in it. Because it could fit like 31 Chinese characters, so that's 15 Chinese words. But they don't need to write all of that. They could make it shorter than that, because it would be even punchier too, because Chinese characters go a long way. Do you have any idea about the WeChat article length, Nara? Or the WeChat title length?
Usually we say if you want to choose a better title of your article, it should be less than 2 lines, because you can see the picture in your blog post. Can you show the Mario one?
Okay.
There is a picture about Switch. Yeah, this one. You can see for this one, the title is less in 2 lines. If you put so many words, it will be super long. So it will be boring for readers to read it. So that's why we should keep the title shorter. I will recommend we keep it in only 1 line. But if you really have too many things to add it to the title, 2 lines is okay. But please just keep it in 1 line. The next one from Xinlang, that is better.
Right, yeah. Okay, so what Nara's talking about is in some views of WeChat, the title could end up being 2 lines long. But if you can shorten it to make it 1 line, that's even better. So like if you can make a title that is 8 characters long, for example, that would be really cool. It's probably more clickable. It'll show up better in certain views, and I think it would get more people to view it. Now, 8 characters long, that's not much longer than the English titles of blog posts that I usually write. Because in blog posts, I want to make it shorter and shorter, and the same thing goes for Chinese too. So let's not say that people should make it as long as WeChat allows them to. Let's just make it short, make it punchy, so people can click it.
Yeah, usually right now for those Chinese companies, they would like to use some They usually ask questions as a title.
Yes.
So it will attract us to click into the article.
I think that's common to say. The people used to say, do you know the solution to write a good article?
Yeah.
I think this will be the kind of topic the Chinese company would use for your blog. They would not say how to write a good WeChat article. They would say, do you know how to write a good WeChat article? Then with a question mark, you probably click into and say, okay, let me see how you go with that.
Actually, this blog post, we are using this kind of title to how to write great WeChat articles.
Yeah. I talk more about that down below too, but we don't need to go through it in any particular order.
Okay.
A comment here from YouTube. about
Yes.
WeChat sending time. What is the best time to send a WeChat article? I don't know the answer to this. Well, hold on. I'll guess, and then Nara, you tell me, okay? I would guess
Sure.
that the best times to send WeChat articles are probably lunchtime, and then again in the evening when people are relaxing.
Actually, I think I should say half of the, you are half right, because actually it depends on your industry. Also, it depends on your article topic. Usually in
Yeah.
China, we say in the morning, usually around 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. During this time, people are on their way to company. Also the lunchtime, also the dinner time, and
Mm-hmm.
also in the night around 9 to 11 p.m. These four periods are good to publish your articles, but it also depends on your industry. So if
Yeah.
you are some entertainment topic, uh, you can publish them at that time. But usually we will, after you create a WeChat account, we will test. The
Mm.
first month we will try different times, and we will see when is the best open rate, and then we will just keep using the period.
Right. Yeah. It's always good to test different times based on the specific industry and the specific account. One time, a long time ago, I think not even with you, Nara, but we were posting content for mothers, like mothers that had newborn babies on Chinese social
Yeah.
media. And we found that one of the best times for making sales was posting it very late at night, like
Mm-hmm.
past 12 a.m. Because what
Yeah.
happens is the mothers would get up to nurse their babies and they got nothing to do. So they open the social media and they see what's new. And here's our articles, and it's entertaining and it's related to babies, and we're making sales. This is a
Yeah. Actually,
strange time.
I have another tip to share with you. If you don't know how to choose the time, you can do a research about your biggest competitor. You can see when they publish the article, and sometimes you can publish a little earlier than them. Just try it.
Right. Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah. I think for open times, it's or for when you post an article, it's also good to not take advice from marketers and just post it on a specific, like a very specific day, because like in Western marketing, I think there must have been somebody that influential. It's like there must have been somebody influential that told everybody that they should post their articles and send their newsletters on Tuesdays, because my inbox just gets flooded on Tuesdays, and then I'm less likely to read them.
Oh.
Okay, let's move on. Let's look at some of these other things. So about WeChat article titles. Another thing that I put here is don't use clickbait. And the reason I said that is because you want to build up consistency over time. You want to build up trust over time. So if you use a clickbaity title, now you could get more people to click it right now. But what about your next article and the one after that? If you trick people into opening it and then disappoint them, they're going to unfollow you, or they're just not going to check it in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that you should use the words that the target audience themselves use. You should spell it the way that they spell it, talk the way they talk. Don't get into like buzzwords, or don't get into overly complex ways of explaining things. Just listen to how your potential clients, how your target audience talks, and then write it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Then another thing that I said here is that you should just lightly optimize the WeChat articles, lightly optimize the WeChat article titles for search. This is kind of related to what I said above about using the words that your target audience uses. But it's important to note that that you should lightly optimize it that way and not totally optimize it, because for content that I would push out that I want people to view on Google or Baidu or Zhihu, I would probably want to focus on the keywords quite carefully, And on WeChat, some people will search. They'll search and they'll find the article at a later time, but the proportion of traffic that finds your article via that way is going to be relatively small. So it's just something extra to consider. Do you agree or not?
I agree with that.
Okay. And then the other thing about titles finally is that you could, in your title, set expectations about what type of content people will find within the article. And as an example, if it's a how-to post, you want to explain that. You want to let them know that it's a how-to post. And one of the trends that I saw for our team writing article titles lately is that they often write this 干货, right?
Yeah.
And 干货means like dried goods. Now this isn't the grocery shopping stuff Lawrence was talking about earlier, but it's just figurative. It's explaining that the article is like it's condensed, right? It's just there's no filler in it. There's no bullshit. It's just straight to the point. You're going to learn something from this article, and it's not going to be very long. Is that what you say 干货 is, or am I wrong?
I think that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So like that's an example of something that people just add into the article title to let the consumers know what to expect. And then anything else that Western marketers would use in their English language articles and other places would work for WeChat as well, because maybe if you have an analysis of something, you want to use the words analysis in it. If you have a study with data, you want to use study in your title. Or if you have tips, you want to use tips in your title, etc.
Yeah, I think if everyone can use this kind of a model during their WeChat management work, that would be better, because it will be easier for user to search for these topics. If they want to see the 干货, they can just search for that, and they can see all your 干货. So that will be convenient for them. Also, it will be also convenient for ourselves to manage our all the articles.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So when it comes to writing great articles for WeChat, I think that I could briefly explain these article descriptions, and then we could talk about the images, and that would be about good for this chat probably. But the description, the article description, it will show up just in some cases. There's a lot of different views on WeChat depending on if people are viewing it. They're viewing the article feeds within their chats, or they're receiving a share via Moments, or getting a direct message, et cetera, et cetera. But the description will just show up in some cases. And I think that the description text should give people an extra reason to want to click it and move on. And there's a couple different tactics that people could use for that, because they could just mention something else that is in the article besides what's mentioned in the title, or they could start writing part of the article, and then if a certain person reads half of a sentence but they want to know what's coming next, then they might click it, right?
Yeah.
Or they might announce a certain benefit to the reader. So the title explains what it is, and then you explain a benefit in there, like learn more about, well, like in this example here, is learn more about optimizing titles for WeChat, for example.
Yeah. Also, some companies or some accounts will also use the questions here, like, do you know that? Do you want to know more about it? Or they will just say, click here to know more. That's a convenient way to write it.
Yes, questions, yeah. So that it gives you an opportunity to use one of the tactics for titles that you didn't actually use in the title, but you could use it now in the description, right?
Yes.
Okay, and now about the images, because whenever WeChat articles are shared, the images are going to show up. But note that they don't always show up in the big format, because if you are making a post on WeChat, you could actually have several articles within it. And in some cases, you could have several articles within it, up to 7, I think. And the top one, is that wrong? 7?
Actually,
Not 7?
In total 8 articles. The top one is only one, and besides the top one,
Okay.
we can add another 7 articles.
Okay, so the top one and then 7 more, and then the top one, the image is going to show up really big, and then the ones below it, the image will not show up so big. So whatever image you use in your WeChat article that's going to be showing on these teasers, it should look good in the big format, and it should also look okay in the small format. So it should be a simple enough image. Or, you might want to just think that you want to apply all your effort to the article that's going to be up top. Now, for the marketing that we do in Nanjing Marketing Group, this isn't much of a consideration because we're working in B2B and education, and we're normally just posting one article per post on WeChat, right?
Yeah.
The other thing about the image is that it will be cropped in different views of WeChat. So sometimes the right and the left margins will be cut off. Sometimes the top and the bottom ones will be. So you want to make it work so that whatever is most important is in the center of the image there.
Another point I want to add here about the images is if you have your own WeChat account, if you want to use other pictures, maybe you found from the internet, please be careful because the pictures also have the copyright. So if you use others' pictures here, they may just come to you and ask for money or find a lawyer for that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So all of those things I mentioned above, those are basically about getting people just to open your WeChat article. And then, once they open your WeChat article, you can celebrate because now after they've opened it, they're going to go back to checking out some cute guy across the subway train. Or if you have really catchy content within the WeChat article, they might actually continue reading your article. So let's talk about that next. You want to get people to read your article. When they open it up, still you got to assume that people are normally distracted in their life in any situation. And what they might do is they might start reading the article from the top, and if they get bored, they'll quit. Or what they might do is they might scan the article from top to bottom and look for certain headers or images or anything that catches their attention. So you want the article to be really easy for them to parse through. And that means that you want the article to be you want the article to be in WeChat style. I call this WeChat style because WeChat style is not exactly like a web page. It's not exactly like a blog. It's not exactly like a newsletter. It's a little bit different. It has a certain amount of formatting within it, and the text is usually broken down into short paragraphs. Okay, short paragraphs with headers and with lots of images, and that makes it easier for people to move through.
Yeah.
So what we do to make sure that it actually ends up working for us is we'll use a tool like Xiaomi. Xiaomi is it's just a tool that, well, it's all in Chinese, so it's not really easy for everybody to use, but it's a tool that helps our social marketers create a consistent format and make it easier for them to repeat that format from one article to the next. Okay?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And then within the WeChat article, besides your text and besides your images, you can insert videos in it too. And I'm big on video. I think video is going to be more and more important. This is why I'm learning to do live videos on YouTube and podcasts and all these different things, because if I learn this, then I can hire people that know how to do it even better in Chinese and will do well on it. But what we're doing right now in WeChat articles is using video in a couple different ways. I saw 3 different ways that we're using video in our WeChat articles. And the first is that sometimes we just have an introductory video at the top of the article, and it might be just 2 minutes long, but it's something that it gets people excited, gets them more interested in reading the whole article. The other is that sometimes we have a comprehensive kind of video. So that means a longer video that basically has all the content that the article actually has, but just in a video format. And the third is short explainer videos. So that would mean the kind of videos that are inserted into the text at different points, because it's just easier to explain some things with a video than it is to explain with text.
Yeah, I agree with that about the videos.
Okay, and then I think these are the most important parts about making a great WeChat article, is making it, making people open it and making people read it. After they've done that, if you want them to share it, just make sure to ask them to share it. Just remind them, because just adding that reminder will probably make more people do it. But then the other thing to consider about sharing is that your article doesn't only need to be useful, it needs to be professional enough. It needs to look good enough that it looks good for the people when they share it, because people don't want to share something that's going to make them look bad. You know, even if you have great information in there, if they think it's just not cool, or it's not professional or anything, then they probably won't share it. And the same goes for conversions. You got to ask them for the conversion. You got to ask them whatever it is. Contact us to learn more about how your factory automation software can save you money. Or you got to ask them for the conversion for a e-commerce type purchase that they can make on the site. And WeChat is fairly flexible in this way, because you can use links within it. You can use QR codes. You can insert mini programs. You can have H5 pages. That part WeChat is pretty good for, I'd say.
Yeah, actually for WeChat articles, we should also add the call to action part. Ask them to share, to save, to follow us, something like that.
Cool. So I think that I said all I wanted to say about making WeChat articles great right now, but I hope that I do some of this justice, because I can analyze these things and I can set out the marketing strategies well, but I can't actually write the WeChat articles nearly as good as the 8 different social marketers in Managing Marketing Group that basically write WeChat articles and social marketing content all day, every day.
Yeah. Actually, I think this kind of article is 干货. It contains a lot of quality content, topics.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's wrap it up here. For anybody that's listening via podcast or are watching via YouTube, I appreciate you joining us here as we work through this format and try to make it more useful for you all the time. Please recommend a friend to listen or watch it. Give us a like, subscribe, whatever it is. Glad to hear from you. And if you have any other comments that you have, if you have some advice for how to improve, then just let us know. Last week, Du Chung let us know that we could reproduce our videos through a platform called Odyssey. So I went ahead and did that, and now the videos are spreading to more places, and maybe even are visible within China without use of a VPN. So any kind of tips like that are useful. Or if you don't like my hair or anything, you can just let me know and I'll change my hairstyle.
Yeah, that's true.
Your hairstyle is fine. It's cool.
Okay, great. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.